Hi, it's Thomas Gronnemark, the throwing coach. In this video I'm going to tell you how you can defend a long throw-in with the flexible sandwich. My name is Thomas Gronnemark and I'm a professional football throwing coach, and I've been part of 15 titles in international football and been coaching clubs like Liverpool FC, Ajax, Dortmund and many more clubs all around the world. I also have an online course called Grønnemark's Throw-in Mastery, and you can find that on throwinacademy.com or just push the link down in the description. I have made the course price so low that most coaches all around the world can afford to pay it. But again, this video is about how to defend a long throw-in by using the flexible sandwich. So first of all, what is a sandwich? Yes, a sandwich is often where you are playing 2 against 1 in an area, and when the opponents have a long throw-in, it's really important that the front player, defender, and the back defender is coming close to the attacking player, because then the risk of that the attacking player is winning the duel, this is much lower. And you can say, are you only going to defend in a 2 against 1? Then it's quite easy. But the challenge is that we sometimes see that the attacking player has no defender in front of him or her, and then it's much easier for the attacking player to flick it on or even hit it directly into the goal. So why is the flexible sandwich important? It is because, like you know, there are not only 3 players involved, so you can make a simple sandwich. There are a lot of players inside the penalty area, and let's just say we have 5 players here, and then you can say if this structure here would stay the same, then yeah, it's still quite easy to make it tight. But the challenge is that you have runs, and let's just say the front player tries to run a little bit forward, and maybe the first defender here would follow, and then suddenly we have this gap. And sometimes you only need a gap on 1 or 2 meters in front of the attacking or receiving player, because before you're vulnerable. So again, we want to avoid those small gaps inside our sandwiches. And again, yeah, this is a 2 against 3. This is also not that complex, but again, you can risk a gap here. But it'll be even more complex when we have many more players inside the pitch and inside the penalty area, because then we don't know where would the runs come, and should we follow, should we stay, should we make the sandwich compact. So what's really important is that the players in here who are going to participate in a sandwich, it's really important that they are able to scan the spaces that the opponents are making, so they can make the different sandwiches tight, because you can't sandwich every player from the opponents, because you simply haven't enough players, defending players, to do that. So it's not only important that they can close these gaps, but it's also really important that the defending team here, the blue team, that the players here are reading where is the ball coming, because you have to scan, you have to observe how long is this throw-in. But the challenge is that if the opponents have a world-class long thrower, then it's much harder to see where is the long throw-in coming. So let's say the opponents have only a player who can throw to the edge of a small box. Then it's much easier to make these sandwiches close, because if we know if it can't come further than this, there we can just put the pressure there. But let's say if a team has a really great player, for example, the long throw-in Brentford scored yesterday against Liverpool FC. They have a really great throw, and by the way, the last 3 seasons before this, I've been coaching Brentford FC, so I know how good they are at long throw-ins. So, but if it's not long enough, it's easier to defend. But if it's a world-class long thrower, the receiver of the players can go from a little bit before the small box, and then the receiver of the ball could also come all the way into the penalty spot in the air, and maybe even longer. So the more world-class the throw-in taker is, the harder it is to defend. So again, remember when you're coaching your players in defending the long throw-in, you also have to coach the ability to close down these spaces, these small boxes, and they have to be able to make a flexible sandwich. So constantly closing potential gaps here in this place. One of the biggest challenges in modern football is that a lot of coaches, also the media, are often underestimating long throw-ins. So it means that if a team scores a long throw-in goal, it's a little bit like, yeah, they were lucky, it was simple football. And you can also say defending-wise, a lot of times people are just saying, it could even be the coach themselves from that defending team saying, we're really bad at defending, that shouldn't happen. And maybe that shouldn't happen, but it's also a quality to defend long throw-ins, to read those spaces, to close those sandwiches down where you can. So again, you have to put time off for that in training. But this was my little video about how can we defend a long throw-in with the flexible sandwich. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll put a lot of great throw-in content down, and you can already now see a lot of videos around the opponent's defending pattern, different throw-in tools. So everything you can imagine around throw-ins. Again, I'll say if you want to have world-class long throwers, they'll be really hard to defend for your opponents. Then I'll say most of my players are improving 5 to 15 meters only with a more efficient technique. So be sure, if you're a pro club, be sure to hire me so you can score a lot of long throwing goals. The last season I coached FC Midtjylland, I scored 11 long throwing goals. The last 5 seasons I coached Midtjylland, we scored 46 long throwing goals. So you can do that for sure. But again, invite me if you're a pro club and are you an amateur youth coach. You're absolutely welcome to look at my online course, Grønnemark's Throw-In Mastery. Here I teach everything around my long, fast and clever throw-in philosophy. But again, push the link in the description or throwinacademy.com. And yeah, I'll just wish you a fantastic day. Bye bye.